my gosh, this is crazy. I feel like Zane.
Oh gosh, how's everybody doing? Kind of scared.
Okay, thank you so much for coming. So we're going to talk a little bit about the book and the channel. Then we have some questions that you have all given us that were amazing and intelligent and crazy. So we're going to answer some of those. And then we're going to meet you all and sign all your books. So
Greg.
So man.
How did ASAPScience start?
Wow. So Mitch and I, is this on? It's on, right?
Can you all hear
I
okay?
have a really loud voice, so I can't. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. So Mitch and I, there's a lot of young people here, you might not have gone through this yet, but after you graduate university, sometimes you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And so we decided that we wanted to start a YouTube channel. I had gone to teachers college where I learned all about how young people learn now, and a lot of the time they're using the internet and they're listening less and less to their teachers. And some of the few times when they would actually listen to me is when I would put YouTube videos up because they were so interested in YouTube as a cultural thing. So it got me thinking about that as its power as a medium. And then we also spent a lot of our time in university talking about how much we love science to our friends and trying to explain in layman terms, like, you know, specific things that were going on in their body and what we learned in class. And so we thought we might have been onto something, and then from there we thought, okay, maybe if we do this not for our friends and family and put it on YouTube,
maybe
other
people will listen. I don't know, so from there, yeah, we just started making videos and we told ourselves, okay, we're going to commit to this one video a week. Hello! One video a week for a year and just see what happens. We had no idea. We didn't really understand YouTube fully. We didn't really know that people other than my mom, who's right there, would watch them. So we just put them out there, and eventually people started watching them, and it kind of got crazy, and we were realizing, wow, people are really interested in learning and watching science videos, and that was super, super cool for us. And so we just kept going with it, and I don't know, what happened after that? Right?
Yeah, okay. So when we think about the actual book, the book that you are all seem to be holding, which is awesome. So what would happen is when we would write our episodes, we would actually kind of write them out as chapters, and we got rid of a lot of information for these videos to be really concise. So we thought we kind of were sort of writing a book all the time. And then also when it came to animation, we're like, oh, no problem, we animate these every week. This will be super easy. But that was the biggest challenge for us. If you look in the book, we wanted it to be like kinetic and feel like there was movement and feel like a video, which was really hard. We spent a lot of time with Jess over there, who helped animate it as well. So yeah, she did all the good drawings. Essentially, what we want you to experience when you're reading it is to obviously get a lot of science information, but we want the visuals to be in addition and to help you understand and to be fun and to be kinetic. And so we hope that that comes across because it was a lot of work on our end and a lot harder than we thought in the first.
Yeah, and the goal with the book and the channel has always been, how many of you guys loved science before you ever even watched ASAPScience? And then how many of you didn't really think science was that cool, but then saw videos online, maybe ours or someone else's, and now you really like it? Awesome, and that's really exciting to hear. And that's always been our goal, is to find questions that people find curious, that maybe don't really have a lot to do with science, but we can find a way to stick science into it, like the dress, for example. Crazy video. Who saw black and blue? Congratulations, you win. You're correct. But who saw white and gold? Oh, you saw both? Okay, who saw both? I couldn't see. We both saw blue and
I
black.
wanted to see both so bad.
I know, we're trying, like staring at it all night.
Crazy.
But that's a good example for us in terms of finding a question that, well, everyone was tweeting us, like, we must know about the dress, please. And then we were sitting there going, like, this is our calling to finally answer this question that everyone's so curious about. But it's a perfect opportunity to learn about science, because that dress was this awesome example of an illusion where there was so much science behind it to explain how people see and how our perception's different and how our brain has a bias. And so that was really fun. So all that kind of thought goes into our videos, goes into the book as well, and so we're super excited that you guys have the book here, and hopefully you will enjoy all the extra chapters that are in it, and it should be really fun.
So what is your favorite chapter, Mitchell?
Put me on the spot, Greg. I think my favorite chapter is one about why does time feel faster as you age? So, like you said, maybe some people here are too young to fully understand and appreciate this phenomenon. But when you get older, often you look back on your life and you're like, why does year by year go by faster and faster as I get older? And there's a couple of reasons. There's theories. There's no necessarily solid reason. But one theory is that if you think about it, when you're 1 year old, that's 100% of your life. But when you're 2 years old, now 1 year represents 50% of your life. And that percentage decreases year after year. And if you graph it out where each year gets smaller and smaller as a box, by the time you're 80, the middle of your life actually feels like it was when you were around 16 to 20. So that's pretty crazy.
Depressing.
Yes. However, here's how we can combat that depression. They have found that, every time you have an experience, your brain stimulates all these neurons and builds all these new connections in which you have more vivid memories. And so when you're younger, you have a lot of these experiences. You learn to talk, you learn to walk, you drive a car for the first time.
You eat pizza for the first time.
You eat pizza. You listen to One Direction for the first time, I'm not sure. But once you get older, you kind of get really good at all these things. You don't really have to think about speaking or walking or doing something new, and so your brain doesn't have to work as hard. So the way to get around it is to just try and have as many new experiences as possible, whether it's playing an instrument, learning an instrument, or going traveling, doing things that you kind of push you outside of your comfort zone so that you can build new connections in your brain, and those memories will serve as a means to feel like life is going slower.
That was really good. That was like better than what we wrote in the book.
Okay. Let's skip that chapter. I'm sorry if I ruined, spoiler alert. What's your favorite chapter, Greg?
I was like, you better ask. My favorite is the science of selfies, and it's about
kidding.
I love selfies. I love your selfies. It's about why we actually prefer or don't like photos of ourselves, and it's really interesting. It's something called the mirror exposure effect. So like humans, we tend to like things that we're used to and used to seeing, which is why, like, if you ever go to France, go to the Louvre, everyone freaks out about the Mona Lisa, even though there's like 100 other like white women pictures right beside it. But you're more excited about this one because you're excited because you've seen it your whole life and it makes you excited. So when you look in the mirror, that's what you're used to seeing. You're used to seeing yourself that way, and you're used to seeing like a mole on a certain part of your face or your hair slicked a certain way. But then when you see the photo of yourself and it's switched and it's actually the way everyone else sees you, you're like, oh, what? Oh, I don't look very good in that photo. But really, it's the way you look, and people think you look good, and that's fine.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah, and there's more info in mine, so you gotta get the books.
Yeah. I see lots of people with it. What's your favorite science fact that's maybe not in the book, but you just love?
So my favorite science fact is one by Carl Sagan, which is a nice one for like Mondays when you're feeling a little upset, or anytime that you're feeling like down on yourself, and it's that there's a 1 in 1 billion trillion chance that in the observable universe you would end up on a planet. So the likelihood that you would be on a planet is insane, let alone on a planet where we've evolved to create culture and books and buildings, and like it's just to make you realize that your life, like, you are so lucky, and the fact that we exist is so lucky, which is an important thing to think about sometimes when life gets you down and Zane leaves One Direction.
We've been thinking about that a lot today. We're like, is there science behind that? Can we make an episode on One Direction? We'll see. You'll have to wait till
yeah, what's yours?
My favorite fact is I first heard it from Richard Feynman, who's a really famous physicist, if you don't know who that is. And he kind of explained that we all picture trees, how they grow out of the ground because their roots are in the ground. And that's partially true because they collect water and nutrients and whatnot from their roots. But the actual substance of the tree, if you think of it, so we breathe out carbon dioxide, and then the tree grabs onto that and uses light and that water in its leaves in a process called photosynthesis to rip the carbon off of that carbon dioxide and actually create the substance of the tree. So in one way, trees actually grow out of the air and not the ground. And I just think that's a cool way to change your perspective on life a little bit, or realize that things may not be as they seem always.
And stop and hug a tree.
Yeah, just hug a tree.
The rare likelihood of seeing one in Toronto.
So what do you think about answering? We're gonna
ask her some questions.
Yeah, we have them in our pockets, so yeah. You want to go first?
Okay, hey Greg, and this is the most beautiful writing. Okay. Hey Greg and Mitchell, have you ever consciously tried to change your behavior / habits because of something you researched for a video? What do you still do differently, and what's something you had a hard time sticking to? There's a lot here. Matt from Burlington.
Where's Matt?
Yeah, nice. That's a great question.
Part.
It's about if we change our habits because of videos, and I'm embarrassed.
Oh yeah, every video first of all, it's difficult to change habits. That's like definitely one of the hardest things. One funny thing we always notice is that every time we make a video, it kind of like comes into our life in a really weird way. So when we did a video about stress, we were so stressed that week, and then when we made a video about sleep deprivation, we just like weren't sleeping all week. And we honestly we made a video about the dress, we were just wearing dresses all week. It's a strange phenomenon that happens to us every time we make a video. It's like we'll see what else comes, but we definitely
start making videos about like getting rich.
What about that?
Yeah, that's true. Or will money buy happiness?
Doesn't buy
No,
happiness.
it doesn't. Don't worry about it.
All right. What was the one question? Okay. How is the lighting so good in your videos? Whoa, thank you.
Well, we bought two. Well, Jess actually bought these lights, and they're quite inexpensive. You can get them from B&H, and we jack up the lights so that you can't like see.
Yeah, part of it is like the
Exposure.
effects afterwards as well. We do it partially in the camera, but we do add a lot of effects to the video in post-production, and so it looks kind of yellowy and a little bit ugly when we first film it, but then we take that footage and we pump up the brightness and change the exposure a little bit.
Essentially, just shine really bright lights on your face.
Yeah.
It's not too hard to
Oh, I thought they were talking about the whiteboard.
Oh!
What were you talking about?
Oh, maybe we're talking about the whiteboard. Same idea, same idea. Okay, what is your favorite food? From Carly. Where's Carly? Nice.
I think my favorite food is sushi.
Yes!
Yeah. I think.
I thought you were going to say, like, Korean food.
Oh, I love Korean food. Yeah, I absolutely love Korean food.
I wanted to say sushi.
That's true. Okay, sushi is yours. No, yeah, you're
Or
right.
pizza.
I forgot what I liked in this moment.
Or pizza. I'm down with pizza. Okay.
Okay, my turn. Okay, who's next? Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I wasn't very excited.
Oh,
We should have said something more exotic.
The last one asked, "Where do you live?" I think we have to skip that one. Do you want an exact address? Okay. This is from Caitlin, and it says, "How long did it take you to write the book?"
Okay, that's a good one. It took about a year and a half to write it and to draw it. We actually had it finished in October, and then there's this sort of things where you have to deal with publishers and try and figure out how you're actually going to get the books produced in a factory. So essentially, it took about a year and a half, and we had help. We had people helping to research, like my sister, who's right there. She helped. She wrote the 5-second rule one. And yeah, we're from Toronto, by the way. That's why like, our family just doesn't fly all over. Yeah. And yeah, so it took about a year and a half. Yeah.
Okay. Was that my question? Or? Yeah, I asked.
I just tried to drag it out, but the answer is a year and a half.
It's a year and a half. I think it's
Okay. Why is there some people that hate math?
Whoa. Who hates math here?
Oh.
That's a lot of you. Well, math is really difficult, and I think maybe the reason people find it challenging is because it's sometimes difficult to relate it to your own life, right? And even we don't cover a lot of math videos because it is. You have to find those examples that really relate to your life. How many of you have heard of Vi before? If you haven't, she's an amazing YouTuber who makes math really, really cool and really, really fun. So I think our strength is trying to make biology and chemistry relatable. Hers is definitely math. There's people like Vsauce who make crazy questions even more interesting. But if you think math is really hard, my best advice is just keep practicing. Math is one of those things that I found really hard in high school and in university as well. And it wasn't until you realized, hey, if you actually just do it over and over and over, as boring as that can sound, then it becomes so easy all of a
It's like a
sudden.
puzzle. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
And
I think,
once your brain knows how to do a puzzle, it can just do it really, really fast.
yeah. And I think it's a testament to like what we're trying to do with this book and with the channel, which is try and make things that aren't always interesting. And sort of with a top-down approach, trying to create ways that people can find science fascinating by relating it to their lives. That probably has something to do with science.
Yeah, what's that now? Oh, this is from Charles, and it says, "What scientist or celebrity inspired you?"
So to be honest, we were so lucky because we got to work with Bill Nye, which was crazy, and that was something that we really wanted to from the beginning, and he's a huge inspiration to us.
Yeah, when we started the channel, we joked, like, if we ever get to work with Bill Nye, we're done. We're done. And then it happened, and we were like, I guess we have to quit.
But the thing is that, and to be honest, the thing is, like, growing up, I didn't really have cable and didn't actually get to watch the Bill Nye show. So there's this really awful story where, while we were filming, they, like, were trying to make a documentary about Bill Nye's influence, and I was first, and they were like, so how did Bill Nye change your life? And I was like, I watched it sometimes at my friend's house, and they're like, okay, Mitch, and, like, switched it. It was so embarrassing.
At least you were honest.
Yeah, I know, but I've been going on and on, I was kind of exaggerated. I was like, Bill, you're my, like...
But now that I appreciate what he did, right? He definitely, yeah. and for
I
me-
lied to Bill Nye. Yeah, so we're gonna pretend that we're really bored and like nothing's happening. We're like,